recently I got my hands on the Rode Stereo Videomic X, and this is a pair of microphones in an XY configuration designed to give you stereo sound recorded right to your camera. You don't necessarily have to record it into a camera, but it's designed to do that well. It's got a cold shoe mount that just slips onto the top of the camera, and it comes with an 1/8" jack that'll just take that audio, stereo audio, and put it into the camera's files. But they also have the capability to take 2 signals from each microphone and bring those into an XLR input if you do have 48 volts of phantom power on board on your camera like I do in the C100, or if you're going to a dedicated audio recorder. So the Stereo Videomic X is actually 2 microphones, 2 small diaphragm condenser microphones that have a cardioid pattern around them, which means they're listening to what's in front of them for the most part. And when you point them in a 90-degree angle in that XY configuration, you get the right microphone looking all the way at the left field of audio, and the left microphone looking all the way at the right kind of field of audio, and what you end up getting is a stereo image that's really pleasing to listen to. So when I get a new piece of gear, and specifically a microphone, I like to do 2 things. I like to test it out, see what it sounds like, see how it operates, see the features it has, but also I like to compare it to the current microphones I have in that category, in this case an XY pair of microphones. So the one that I currently have is just the XYs that come on the Zoom H6, and so I wanted to take some time and compare that to what the Stereo Videomic X might sound like. But also I just wanted to hear it. I wanted to see how it interacted with camera preamps, because camera preamps can be a big problem. And that's why some of these features that come with this thing I'm really excited about. Some of those features on the Stereo Videomic X include a 6 decibel high shelf in the EQ spectrum, and that's important because if you're outside and you put that big fuzzy windscreen on it, that'll block most of the wind noise, but at the same time it muffles some of the high end. So if you want to kind of get back that high end clarity without having to do it in post, just hit that button. The other thing is it does have low cut filters or high pass filters depending on what country you're from. The last feature that comes with the Stereo Videomic X I think is the most important, and this is an output gain control. What this does is it sets a level of gain coming out of the internal preamps on the actual unit into your camera. And this is important because camera preamps tend to be really bad, and especially if you're just using that 1/8" jack that comes with it. If you just have a kind of a low signal coming out of your microphone, the camera is going to be where you boost that signal to record it to a meaningful level, and you'll get a lot of hiss, you'll get a lot of noise floor with it. So I did some tests on the cameras I operate with to see how these different settings might affect that preamp noise floor. So I started out here with the GH4. It's one of the cameras I use most often, and honestly I'll use this microphone a lot with that camera. And so we'll just start here with all 3 settings into the GH4, and I have normalized all this audio so that even if the levels are different when I'm recording it, it's going to be pretty consistent as you hear it to give you an idea of how loud or how quiet the actual noise floor is. The noise floor being that kind of hiss or that kind of whooshing sound at the very bottom of your recording that is really undesirable, and if you're really listening for it, it's a big deal. Rode Stereo Videomic X, -10 output gain, GH4 maximum preamps. Okay, moving to 0 output gain. GH4, still maximum preamps. And go +20 output. That's a hot signal. So now we're going to actually switch a little bit. The Rode Stereo Videomic X comes with 1 cable, which is that 1/8" jack that will take out the stereo signal and bring it into a camera's 1/8" input. However, there are 2 mini XLR ports on the Stereo Videomic X if you wanted to take out both channels and put it into a dedicated recorder, or a camera that has 2 XLR inputs that would record it to the left and the right channels. Low cut at 75. +6 shelf, high shelf. I love the Zoom H6 stereo mics. I use those a lot, and I have a shock mount that I put the H6 on and I go record ambient sounds, and I've talked about that before. However, I wanted to test that versus the Stereo Videomic X XY configuration microphones, because I just want to know which one is more quality, which one has a higher noise floor, which one has more of a, I don't know, richer sound. What's the difference? How do they sound? So I went outside, boom pulled the Stereo Videomic X, which is shock mounted at the microphone level. And we're just gonna switch back and forth here and see the little difference in the sounds. Hot signal. So after that test, I honestly, when I'm listening to the difference between the H6's stereo mics and the Rode Stereo Videomic Stereomic X, it's a lot of words, I'm sorry. It just sounds more compressed in the H6 than it does in the Rode Stereo Videomic X. So I think that wins. They're better mics, they're quieter, they're just a better system overall. These microphone capsules are shock mounted themselves. And here, let me just grab it and just show you. So if you take this cover off, these microphone capsules have shock mounts on them right here. So it's like the little mic capsule is actually shock mounted up there. So it's supposed to take care of that problem of handling noise and rumble and any other vibrations that sensitive mics like condensers would pick up. However, on the end of the boom pole, it was picking up a lot of noise. Not to a big degree, but when I would shake the H6 and then shake the boom pole, it was definitely much more noticeable. So I don't know how effective those shock mounts are. Okay, shock mounts. Anyway, moving on now, we're inside. We're going to test the noise floor just inside. When we're listening to nothing but the room tone, you can actually hear some of that whooshing or hissing noise floor a lot more clear. -10 output gain, GH4 preamps, maximum. Bump it. This is +20 output gain, GH4 preamps minimum. Noise floor of the Stereo Mic X. Zoom. So that's all for this little mini review, actually really just a noise floor review of the Rode Stereo Videomic X. That's so many words, they need a different title for this thing, Rode Stereo Videomic X. But overall, I really, really like it. If you've made it this far in this microphone review, you're a champion, and I'm very proud to know you. Like the video, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I will leave a comment to you, I hope so, and I'll see you next week.